Imagine a world where one of the most recognized soda brands, Pepsi, simply vanishes. Yes, you heard it right. Pepsi, the iconic cola brand, has filed for bankruptcy. This statement, as shocking as it may sound, is the harsh reality we find ourselves in. The news of Pepsi's bankruptcy sent shockwaves around the world, met with disbelief and astonishment by millions. After all, Pepsi wasn't just any brand. It was a global icon, a symbol of refreshment that transcended borders and cultures. From the bustling streets of New York to the remote corners of Asia, Pepsi had a ubiquitous presence. Its blue, white, and red logo was instantly recognizable, a beacon of American consumerism that had permeated every corner of the globe. It was the soda of choice at family gatherings, the go-to refreshment at parties, and the perfect companion for a late-night movie. It was more than just a beverage. It was a part of our lifestyle. But Pepsi was more than just its global popularity. It was a brand defined by its rivalry, a long-standing, fierce competition with Coca-Cola, the other titan of the soda industry. This duopoly was not just about soft drinks, it was a cultural phenomenon, a battle of tastes, branding, and influence that spanned over a century. This rivalry, known as the Cola Wars, was a testament to Pepsi's standing in the industry. It wasn't just a competitor, it was Coca-Cola's equal. So the question that begs an answer is, what happened? How did a brand so powerful, so influential, and so deeply ingrained in our culture end up on the brink of extinction? How did Pepsi, a titan of the soda industry, a symbol of American consumerism, and a household name worldwide, file for bankruptcy? What could have possibly led to this colossal downfall? Let's unravel the story. Pepsi's journey towards bankruptcy didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, painful descent, marked by a series of unfortunate events. You see, even in its heyday, Pepsi faced some pretty tough challenges. A sinking ship doesn't just disappear beneath the waves all at once, and in Pepsi's case, the early signs of trouble were there, if you knew where to look. For one, declining sales were a big red flag. The once favorite beverage was losing its fizz, both literally and metaphorically. Consumers started turning their backs on sugary drinks, and Pepsi, with its flagship cola at the forefront, was hit hard. The company's attempts to diversify into healthier options fell flat, and the sales numbers painted a grim picture. Then there were the marketing missteps. Pepsi prided itself on its cutting-edge advertising campaigns, but some decisions just didn't hit the mark. There was a time when Pepsi was the cool kid on the block, with pop culture icons lining up to be part of their ads. But as the years went on, their campaigns started to feel out of touch and failed to resonate with the younger generation. And of course, we can't forget the increasing competition. Pepsi wasn't just battling it out with Coca-Cola anymore. New players entered the scene, offering consumers a multitude of choices, from craft sodas to organic teas. The beverage market was no longer a two-horse race, and Pepsi struggled to maintain its position. Each of these missteps, each failure, was like a crack in the hull of a ship. Individually, they might have been manageable, but collectively, they spelled trouble. And the worst part, these weren't just isolated incidents. They were symptoms of a much larger issue, a company that was losing touch with its market and failing to adapt to changing consumer preferences. The writing was on the wall, but it seems like Pepsi either couldn't read it or chose to ignore it. Either way, the result was the same. These early signs were the first indications of the rocky road ahead for Pepsi. As the problems mounted, the domino effect kicked in, causing a chain reaction that led to Pepsi's downfall. It began with a ripple, a small disturbance in the calm surface of Pepsi's operations. The initial challenges, though seemingly insignificant, were the first in a series of dominoes to fall, setting off a cascade of issues that would ultimately bring the beverage giant to its knees. The financial losses were the first tangible sign of trouble. The numbers painted a grim picture. Revenues were down, costs were up, and profit margins were shrinking fast. Pepsi, once a titan in the beverage industry, was hemorrhaging money. The losses were not just a blow to the company's bottom line, but also to its image. The once mighty brand was now seen as vulnerable, and this shook the confidence of investors and stakeholders alike. The next domino to fall was the layoffs. In a desperate bid to stop the bleeding, the company had to make the painful decision to let go of many of its employees. The layoffs not only affected the lives of those who lost their jobs, but also morale, within the company. The remaining employees, uncertain of their future at Pepsi, were disheartened and demotivated. And then there was the loss of investor confidence. With each passing quarter, the company's performance continued to deteriorate, causing its share price to plummet. Investors, who had once seen Pepsi as a safe and profitable bet, were now jumping ship. The company's failed attempts to reverse the situation only exacerbated the problem. Instead of restoring confidence, these efforts were seen as desperate and reactive, further eroding trust in the company's leadership. All these events were not isolated incidents. They were dominoes, each one triggering the next in an unstoppable chain reaction. The domino effect was in full swing, and Pepsi, caught in its path, was spiraling out of control. Pepsi's situation was spiraling out of control, and the worst was yet to come. The stage was set for the final act of this corporate tragedy, a fall from grace that would leave a lasting mark on the world of business. In the end, it was a combination of factors that dealt the final blow to Pepsi. Picture this: a titan, having battled against the odds for years, finally succumbing to an onslaught of adversities. That was Pepsi. The dominoes had started to fall, and despite their best efforts, they couldn't halt the chain reaction. The loss of major contracts was a significant hit. Pepsi, once a favored choice, found itself being replaced in favor of competitors in key markets. This wasn't an overnight shift, it was a slow and steady erosion of their market share. Each lost contract chipped away at their foundation, weakening the structure that had once been robust and unyielding. Then came the global economic downturn. It was a storm that many businesses weathered, but for Pepsi, already on shaky ground, it was a tempest too powerful to withstand. The downturn was indiscriminate, affecting all sectors across all continents. Pepsi, with its global reach, felt the full brunt of this economic tsunami. Their revenues dwindled, and with it, their hopes of a recovery. In these dire times, Pepsi made a valiant attempt to turn the tide. They launched new products, rebranded existing ones, and embarked on aggressive marketing campaigns. But the odds were stacked against them. The public's loyalty had been swayed, and their attempts to regain their foothold were met with lukewarm response. The initiatives that were meant to be their lifeline only served to drain their already depleted resources further. The company's leadership, in a final desperate attempt, tried to negotiate a bailout, but the damage had been done. The trust was broken, their credibility shattered. No investor was willing to take on the colossal task of resurrecting the fallen giant. With this, Pepsi's fate was sealed, and the once iconic brand was pushed into bankruptcy. In the aftermath of Pepsi's bankruptcy, the business world was left reeling. But from this downfall, there are lessons to be learned. The collapse of this beverage giant sent shockwaves through the global market. An entity that was once considered too big to fail was now a cautionary tale. Pepsi's bankruptcy painted a vivid picture of the ripple effect that such a downfall can trigger, affecting everyone from investors and employees to consumers and competitors. Pepsi's downfall underscores the importance of sound financial management. The company's excessive spending and misguided investments led to a financial quagmire. This serves as a stark reminder to businesses of all sizes that financial discipline is not just a necessity, it's a lifeline. Over-reliance on debt, failure to manage cash flows, and neglect of financial health can lead to a company's undoing. Moreover, Pepsi's story also highlights the significance of effective marketing. Despite its global presence and strong brand identity, Pepsi failed to resonate with the evolving tastes and preferences of consumers. It reminds us that understanding your audience and staying relevant in their eyes is crucial. Marketing isn't just about selling a product, it's about telling a story that your consumers want to be a part of. Above all, Pepsi's fall from grace underscores the importance of adaptability. The business landscape is ever-changing, and those who fail to evolve with it risk being left behind. Pepsi's inability to adapt to changing market trends and consumer behaviors was a major factor in its downfall. It teaches us that adaptability isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving in a world of constant change. In the end, Pepsi's bankruptcy serves as a stark reminder of the ruthless nature of business and the importance of constant innovation and adaptability. It's a reminder that no company, no matter how big or iconic, is immune to failure. And it's a lesson that success in business isn't just about making a mark. It's about staying relevant and resilient in the face of change.